it's Michelle Turner from Movement Lesson. I was going to talk to you about that I'm doing my new cranial movements series. The series will be a total of 5 courses: cranial, head, and sutures, the exterior bones of your head or of an infant's head, working with both adults and pediatrics, going into the nasal and ear canals and the facial bones. And then the 3rd course will be about the palate. Then we're going into skeletal muscles and fascia, and then into head trauma. All courses will be available with or without Movement Lesson Laser Series instructions. When you're working with the cranial movements, the reasons that an infant's head is so subluxed up until 2 years of age is because all the developmental movement patterns, your milestones, are created based off of the baby's ability to move through the head. Things like special needs, but flat heads, facial deviations, but also limited movements. Limited movements can be either environmental, let's say brain cooling, line, shunts, but it also could be, again, a baby left to lying a bit too long, or just not going into their developmental milestones. The baby's supposed to be rolling over by 2.5 to 3 months. This is where we get this wait and see, they'll be fine. But then I get the phone calls at 6-7 months where the child's still not presenting, coming to sitting, rolling over. All of these milestones need to be done with cranial shape as well as cranial movements. The proportions are different. If I were to look at an adult skull, even though this is the same size, the relationship, let's say, of the zygomatic to the mandible is completely different. I'm not going to get a roll. This is where I get a fall, or where I start saying there's a heavy head, right? You want certain milestones to happen too, even before teeth buds come into play. The buds of the teeth will affect movements, especially with intubation, cannulation. These are all the things that I have found over my decade or so of 15 years plus of experience. My son had Haemophilus influenza and staph within his whole nasal sinuses. My biggest quest was, why was he so delayed? They said he would never walk or talk just due to a facial infection. Of course, they didn't find the infection for 3 years. But that's another story. So, of my 25,000 clients, of all my experience from going around, I realize so much more that I work with cranial movements in a way that's different with Movement Lesson. And I really wanted to present it in my course. You can find more at movementlesson.academy, or by all means, support all your movement abilities or your causes through Movement Lesson for Parents and Practitioners. Available on Facebook. It's a private group. All my courses come with a private group to start off with, but my Movement Lesson for Parents and Practitioners for you to continue all your work with my Movement Lesson videos. So if you are wondering why you have movements or that are capable of or not capable of, this is where, again, this new course going into cranial movements. And by the way, this is for all modalities. All my courses are always set up for parents. However, I will say this is probably one of my biggest course launches, and it's not just for people that are doing Movement Lesson. If you're a chiropractor, masseuse, and you really want to get into adding another avenue to your portfolio that you can branch out and help more people, by all means, look into Movement Lesson Cranial Series. The link is below. Thanks.